Anybody else want to do the intro?
You got it, bro.
You got it.
I waited until we got on camera to say that. Welcome back to the BookFest Club. It's the world's most dangerous book show. I'm your host, Jay, along with my boy Jules and the Queen Key. And today, Key is a coon, and we going to discuss it.
Wait. Key is a what?
That's what they said, man. I'm only repeating what they said, man. I didn't say it. I'm only repeating what they said. So
y'all
this past
early
week,
this week,
right? This past week, Key had a very, very interesting post on Threads where she had to kind of get on there and defend herself. She started by saying, I'm not a coon because I said I didn't enjoy a book by a Black author. There are Black readers who choose not to talk about books by Black authors they didn't enjoy. Period. I understand and respect their choice. However, I'm someone who talks about books I like and don't like. Regardless of the demographics of the author, that's my personal choice. If you don't like that, I understand you blocking me, muting me, etc., etc. But calling me a coon is uncalled for. They talked about you because they even talked about Jesus. So what is your response with that?
You know, Jay, you read my response to it. It all started because I was talking about a popular author's book. Her name is Brittany Lewis. She wrote a book called Blood Moon. You know, she has not been shy about the fact that she said that she got inspiration to write her book from not only the Vampire Diaries, but the Twilight franchise. And when I was reading it was very, very similar to Twilight, in my opinion. And I made a post saying that to me, it read like Twilight fan fiction. That angered a lot of people, even though I was not the first or the only person to say that the book is very reminiscent of Twilight. You know, sometimes I just feel like we have to call a spade a spade. I did not disrespect the author. I didn't even say the book was bad. I just said, she said she got inspiration. I'm saying it read like a Twilight fan fiction. That angered a lot of people, which I'm okay with. You know, I was talking to Jules and Jay about this before we started this episode. And I know when you're someone and you talk about books online, people get really attached to their authors and they get really attached to the books that they love. I have no problem with someone disagreeing with my opinion. I've disagreed with people's opinion and we've had respectful discourse on it. Okay. And I realize when you have opinions about books, you have opinions about anything and you're on a podcast, people are going to come at you. They're going to attack you. They don't like what you have to say. I get that. I can take that. I'm a big girl. But one of the things that I've seen that really disappointed me was several readers were reposting my post and they were sharing their own thoughts on it. And one of which someone called me a coon. Now that post has since been deleted or else I would have screenshotted it and showed it with the person's name redacted because again, I do not condone the piling on of anyone. Even in my defense, I've never wanted someone to defend me by tearing down someone else, but
we police ourselves. We're going to catch you in the warehouse somewhere and tape you up.
I've never been that type of person, but people were upset. They called me a coon because I'm a Black woman and I'm talking about a Black author's book. And, you know, Jay, you read what I said and that's what I meant. I'm not a coon because I don't like a book by a Black author. I respect the readers who feel like, you know, Black authors don't get a platform and they don't want to contribute to not them continuing to not get a big enough platform because we don't get the same deals that traditionally published white authors get. I understand that and I respect that. But as someone who wants to have a bookish podcast where I'm talking about all books, I'm going to talk about all books. If I read books by Black authors, I'm going to talk about the books, whether I like them and I didn't like them. And it's always with constructive criticism. It's always with love. I never mean to disrespect the author. So that was my stance on it. You disagree with me. I'm okay with that. I understand that. I respect everybody's opinion. Reading is subjective. People are bringing their own experiences to every single book that they read. So I never judge anybody by their opinion as long as they're not disrespecting the authors or the readers. And I wasn't being disrespectful by saying my opinion. And I'm not a coon because I want to talk about books regardless of the demographic of the author. I'm going to talk about it. And that's just, I'm not apologizing for that. I'm not going to change my content. I stand firm on who I am and I know who I am. And I'm confident in my Blackness, being a Black woman, still being able to constructively and critically discuss all books. And that's my stance on that.
I love that.
What you got to follow up, Jules?
Well, I got two things to say about this particular issue is we got to name it what it is. We got to call it out for what it is. And it's a racial slur meant to police Black thought.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. What was said is it wasn't feedback. It wasn't criticism. It wasn't passion even. It was a racial slur used to historically punish Black people for independent thinking, right? Key had an independent, the word coon has always been used to say, think like us or you're not really black.
Yep, I agree.
Right? I can't think independently of the crowd, right? And so that word isn't about disagreement. That word is about domination, right? And so my second point is that a mid review is not betrayal. I think given your viewpoint is not betrayal. You know, critique is not disloyalty. And I feel like that's how that person viewed you, as being disloyal to a community, right? But a mid review is like you said, it's part of a honest literary critique, right? If we're going to have any type of value as a podcast, as a YouTube channel, if we're going to have any type of validity, we got to keep it a band.
We have to be honest.
Yeah, we got to be honest. And so, you know, Black readers are not a monolith, right? They're not. You know, there's so many types of Black readers out there, and a thoughtful critique actually honors the work, in my opinion.
Yeah.
More than just some blind praise. Like, and I think that's what Key was doing. I feel like Key was actually honoring the work by giving it an honest critique. Critical thinking is not self-hate. It's not.
It's not self-hate. And the reason why I took such offense to being called a coon also was that if people were to take a look at my social media channels, for example, I am not one of those readers who I only read one Black book a year and all you see is me clowning Black authors. That's never been my platform. That's never been what I wanted to do with my platform, like at all. If you go and look, especially my recent social media, I have been trying my hardest to bring stories that maybe people hadn't heard of to my platform. Let's talk about it. And I've been thinking of new and interesting ways to present this, to get people's attention and show them like, oh my gosh, read this book. And like, I like to shout out and talk about my Black authors. That's something that I am trying to be better at. It's something that me and Jay even talked about. Like, you know, we're a group full of like Black excellence. We're a team of Black excellence. We love to read. Why not even use our platform to start talking about more Black authors? You know, like that's something that has been extremely important to me. So that's why, again, I took offense to being called a coon, because I talked about one book by one Black author. And it was just, again, like you said, Black readers are not a monolith. Black books are not a monolith. If I said this one book reminded me of another book that this author even said herself that she took inspiration from, that is not me saying every book by a Black author takes inspiration from a white author's book. That's not, you know what I mean? Like, Black readers are not a monolith, neither are Black books. And if someone is ignorant enough to take me saying one critique about this one book and just put that on every book by Black authors, that's not my fault, because I never said that. That's never the message that I have been preaching. That's them choosing to receive my message that way. And that is not a me problem. That's more of that's your problem in how you're choosing to understand this. And I just feel like in the bookish community, we have lost sight of what an opinion is. People feel personally attacked if someone doesn't have the same opinion, and they want to put judgments on who someone is because they didn't like a book. And I'm like, this is a fictional book. These characters are not real at all. Like, this is just my opinion.
Challenge the opinion. Don't attack your identity.
Exactly.
Right?
Challenge the opinion. If you would have said, I disagree with what you said, there were people who argued with me in my comments and we were going back and forth about it. I completely welcome that. Let's have respectful discourse. You think this is what I think. Let me show you why I think this. But the minute someone calls me out of my name, it's when all thoughtful discussion goes out the window, because that's not right. And I want to say this too. There were so many people who, when I got this message, they wanted me to call the people out who were saying it and saying mean and hurtful things. I want to tell y'all something. I stand for my Black people, and I know that we do wrong and we be piling on each other sometimes, but that's never going to be me. My response is never going to be to attack people and criticize them and make them feel as bad as they made me feel.
And salute for that, Key.
That's never been what I want to do. I don't want us to create more Black hate, but now I'm attacking you and attacking you personally. And now we have this cycle of, now we're just talking shit about each other, when literally it started as a subjective opinion on the book. That's never going to be me. And there were people who were telling me, point those people out, call those people out. Never. That will never
Jay,
be me.
She's getting her Michelle Obama on, Jay. She's going high. She's going high. When they go low, we go high.
Because at my core, I'm a Black woman and I will never support dogpiling on another Black person. Even if it's like, they call me a coon, they call me this. If other people want to defend that and defend against that, sure, but do not do it on my behalf by ganging up on someone and then starting to attack their looks, attack their belief. You could say that was wrong for you to say this, but I'm never going to be that person who tells people, attack, release them, because again, I love my Black people, and I just feel like I would be a hypocrite if my response to hate is to then turn around and do exactly what they did. I am choosing to stand in who I am as a person. That's not who I am, and continue to just live in my truth, because I know who I am. I'm not a coon. I am a strong, powerful Black woman who just has an opinion that may not be the common opinion when it comes to talking about some books. And I'm okay with that. And I also want to say that's because of my two amazing co-hosts, Jay and Jules. I hold you guys with utmost respect. And ever since we started this podcast, I realized that the things that I do could reflect on this joint venture that we have done together. And I would never want to do anything that makes people look down or bad on our podcast, because we essentially are a team. And I think about that as well. Like, we do not stand for hate. We do not stand for any of those things. And I'm not going to bring that negativity to a place of peace where we have gathered to talk about books. So
I thought that I was going to have a lot of visceral things to say. And then my two co-hosts was like Michelle and Barack, and they went so
but Jay, you got to show them you. Yeah.
Y'all went so eloquently, right? And I said, damn, man, they making me seem like, you know what I mean? Like I'm about to come on here and get crazy. But I'm a Trump guy. Anyway, so ignorant that wrote coon under my co-host page. I know your bus was a lot shorter than everybody else's. And I understand that you don't come from a good family.
You two go cancel
I understand that y'all like tater tots and boiled franks. So I'm a kindly, right? I'm gonna be nice, and I'm not gonna say anything off the wall. I'm just gonna say, I can't say that because I know you two they're gonna censor that one.
On the
I
live.
can't say the other word, so I can't really go crazy on that one. So I could just say, I hope you maybe lose your job. I hope you're not able to buy any more books.
Twist your ankle real bad.
Something, yeah.
Stump your toe on the coffee table.
Not get hit by a car, but get tapped. Enough to where you spin around. At it like I'm trying.
You're doing good, Jay.
That's just what I feel, because if we was on live, I would really, really go crazy. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. My coworker my co-host has her opinion. It's her opinion. We gonna all have our opinion. Now, we'll say this. We not holding up on Black authors because of the color of our skin.
At all.
You know what I'm saying? If your book is trash, if your book is whack, we're going to respectfully talk about your book. We ain't going to say it's garbage, you know what I mean? But we're going to have our points. You're going to know it's garbage by our review, right? Nobody above reproach, whether you white or Black. This is a book space. And I take our validation serious.
Real
and
talk.
We can't say everything is a 4 or 5 and it's not. We're not going to do that because we want people to come here and value our opinions. Real talk. I can't sit here and be somebody who, this is fire, and it's not. Not to get no interviews. I'm not doing that. I don't really care. If you rock with us, you're going to come on the show because you rock with us. Other than that, if you really can't mess with us like that, then do your thing. We still going to read your books. We still going to do what we got to do, and we still going to talk about it. If the public wants us to read it and talk about it, I want them to know that they feel validated and coming to a podcast where they support our decisions and everything that we say, right? Respectfully. Right? So,
yeah.
And
so with that, Jay, I want to piggyback off of that, man. We need to reject the false gatekeeping of Blackness.
Yeah.
Right? We need to reject that. No one gets to revoke someone's Black card around here.
Yeah.
For real. Blackness is not contingent on everybody agreeing, all the Black people agreeing. No, for real. They don't. Like,
because I hated Rage of Dragons. That was a horrible
for
book.
real. And so Blackness is not contingent upon agreement. Culture is not protected by, someone hopping on TikTok or someone hopping in threads and trying to silence our voice. That's not how culture is protected.
I don't think so either. I think
gatekeeping kills art. It kills the dialogue, the constructive dialogue that needs to be had. If you want to have a dialogue, let's have a dialogue, right?
It does.
It kills growth. And I believe that Blackness doesn't need permission slips. We don't need your permission to come on here and give our honest critique of a book. We are book readers, for real.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And we just didn't start reading books when TikTok became a thing. And I've been a book reader. since
Damn,
high
word.
school, right?
Yeah.
And so, man, we just need to. I just wanted to say that about the gatekeeping, man.
Stop. Listen, now I gotta say this one right here. To all you big book content creators, right?
I thought I was
Whether
gonna
you
say big
on
back.
whatever, if
I
you
don't
on
know why.
these big
I'm big back
platforms,
up.
right? Stop, and I'm gonna say this without any racial empathy and all that. Start giving these authors of our color a platform, because y'all not doing that. I'm going through some of the biggest book talkers, bookstagrammers, booktubers, and I'm not seeing no African American authors unless they make a big book. Before, and I did my research, before, boy, what's the country black dude that did All the Sinners Bleed and all that? And
Say Cosby.
before his book, wasn't nobody checking for him, right? They might have read his book, but until that last book came out, it wasn't nobody really checking for him. I went through all the interview, Jones, and the moment he hit big, here come all these book talkers, here come all these bookstagrammers jumping on the wave, right? Let's catch these authors when they at the bottom putting in that work. Stop
Real talk.
catching them when they at the top, and that's the only time that you can catch them. I'm seeing dudes with Brandon Sanderson. I'm seeing all these other book podcasts with all of these other authors that's not a color, and they don't, let's be honest, right? Not throwing shots. I ain't even gonna say your name. They don't cover our stuff, right? When you go to these other book podcasts, they ain't covering us. We as the small African American community in reading, we have to cover ourselves. These other big platforms, they ain't doing it. They covering Sarah J. Maas, you know what I'm saying? They covering Rebecca Yarros,
and we
right?
ain't
They
hating.
covering no slander on Frida. We ain't gonna do that. Frida's in a different, she's different. No slander on Geneva Rose. You know what I'm saying? We not gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that. Them two right there, those my girls. Ain't no slander will be tolerated. But what I'm saying is, when you see these other book podcasts, they ain't covering us. They ain't giving us the type of data we need. They ain't even reading our books. But here we are. We reading Fourth Wing. And I ain't got no disdain towards Rebecca Yarros. She ain't, you know what I'm saying? Until she slip up, we ain't on her ass. Sarah J, we gonna get you. We on you. Next episode, we on you. But I'm just saying, like, they not covering our books. So this is why we created the BookFest Club. I feel like we one of the best, if not, I'm gonna say we the best BookFest Club, because what you're gonna get here is real, authentic conversations. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get real opinions and truths, and we cover everybody. That's how you run a book podcast. Not because you black, not because you white, or not because you black and make a hit series that everybody's following. So now you want that following to come behind it, and you're only covering them because they're at the top of their game right now. You know what I'm saying? Because when they ain't at the top of their game and they don't write that #1 USA New York Times bestseller, where you at? Let's show more support to the Darion Williams. Let's show more support to Tiffany D. Jackson, right?
Yep.
Tracy
Dion.
Right. Like, let's start, Alyssa Cole. Let's start to show these African American authors off, you know what I'm saying? Because that's the platform that we got. Let's just start talking about them more, right? Because nobody else is going to cover us but us.
Yeah.
And I know that was long, but
And
that's all
piggybacking off of that, man, this space welcomes critique.
Yeah.
We welcome critique, man. Honest critique. You know what I'm saying? We're not here to be an echo chamber for whatever the rest of the, the rest of the book talk or the rest of the book world is saying. We're giving you our honest critique from just everyday people, right? Right? We're here to be honest. We're here to be thoughtful. All right. And so disrespect, it's not going to be heard, Jay. It's not going to be entertained.
And notice
real conversations.
Right. And notice that we respected it. We didn't even say nothing about old girl that wrote Blood Moon. Key read Blood Moon by herself. I didn't read it, so I have no opinion on it. That's Key opinion, right? I might read it and I might like it and be like, yo, Key, you tripping. That book was fire. And I don't mind coming on air and debating that with my co-host, because that's what we do. That's what we hear. You know what I'm saying? We're going to debate books. It's going to be books we don't like, and it's going to be it's going to be books that none of us like, or books that I may like, and we're going to talk and discuss the book. But we not gonna give you credence if we didn't read the book. So nobody over here, if you notice, nobody said anything when she went into her soliloquy about why she didn't like the book, because we didn't read it. You know what I mean?
Jay, you keep saying I didn't like the book. I never said I didn't like the book. That was another thing.
Not didn't like the book, but the conversation of it being a
Twilight
but ripoff. That's what I mean.
Another thing that bothered me. So many people were upset about what I said, and in the post that I made, I never said the book was bad. I never said it was horrible. Now I'm saying here, I did not like the book. Like, I didn't.
So just maybe
But I'm saying the whole point of that post was people kept saying that I shouldn't be talking about it because talking about what I didn't like as a Black person, talking about a Black author book. And my point was, I didn't ever say on my original post that I didn't like the book. Even when I was trying to defend myself, I never said, hey, the book was trash. I never said that. I just said, it reminded me of it was a Twilight fan fiction. So that's again going back to what both of you have said. My Blackness is not equated to how well I liked a book by a Black author.
Come on now.
You know what I
Real
mean? And
talk.
I respect our craft as people who we talk about books and we talk about issues in books. Like we love Jaquel J, and we just gave Capadonna one jointly 3 and 3.5 stars. Does that mean that people are now gonna, oh, you guys are anti-Black because
Excuse me.
you know? But people feel this way, and I feel like if I majority read Black books and I have a Black podcast, what do you think I'm going to be majorly critiquing if I mostly read Black books? And I feel like we are trying to give authors a platform. The people that we have interviews for are Black authors. Like Ladarian Williams is a Black author. Next month, we're having T. Yasmin, who is an indie self-published Black author, on to interview. So we are definitely using our platform, and I'm definitely trying to use my voice to continue to uplift my people. But I'm also not going to be performative and act like I only read books by Black authors when I read books from everybody. I'm a reader and I love every kind of story. So I just feel like we also have gotten used to this performative activism where we feel like we're listening to what people are saying and tailoring, oh, we can't read this, we can't talk about this, and we can't do this because other people are going to get upset. And that's never been how I've done my platform. Like I've built my platform myself. I do it the way I want to do it. And like you said, Jules, the people that's going to rock with me, they're going to rock with me, even when they disagree with my opinions, because they know who I am as a person. And if you really don't want to fuck with me, I'm not begging you to. I'm just saying, continue to be respectful. We have lost disrespect in the bookish space. Like people want to argue and disrespect you as a person if you disagree with them on their opinion of a book. And it's like people are parasocially attached to these authors, y'all. Like they feel like, oh my God, if someone didn't like my favorite author's book, it's my job as a reader to go out and defend them and bully people because they didn't like it. That's not your job. When authors put something out for people to consume, they have to realize people are going to like it. People are going to not like it. And people are going to talk about it. Same way with this podcast. That's why I said I've never told people you have to like me. You have to just know if you don't like me, I'm not mad about that. People have the right to. You consume something you don't like it. Talk about what you don't like, but be respectful. Don't come at me because you know nothing about who I am, what I stand for. All I talk about online is books. You don't even know who I am, but you are upset because I said something about one book by a Black author and now I'm a coon. And now my Black card is revoked because I said I didn't like the book or that, hey, it reminded me of a different book. And now I'm a coon. I'm a coon.
That's crazy. And I feel like that moment on Threads, I feel like it reveals something bigger too, Key and Jay. I feel like the real conversation is about how Black critique is still policed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are we still handcuffed? Right? I feel like that moment was about who gets grades and who gets hostility.
Yep.
And if a mid-review triggers a slur,
exactly.
The problem isn't the review, baby.
Yeah.
Like, let's be clear.
True story.
There's a bigger problem that you need to address. And it's not that review. It's you.
And again, people, were upset, Jules, because Brittany Lewis is a Black author. And the reason why they were so upset is because the book that I compared her book to was a white author's book, and Black paranormal writers, Ladarian Williams has talked about this. He has a magical HBCU series. It's more difficult for them to get these traditional publishing deals. So that's another layer to why people felt like, you know, maybe I was contributing to the dogpiling on Black authors who were in fantasy. But let me again tell you this. One of the reasons why I was so comfortable saying that her book reminded me of a white author's, Jules and Jay, is because this author has said that she's inspired by the story of Twilight, by the Vampire Diaries, which are primarily white dominated books and movies. So that's why
Arthur even said it.
The author said it. So that's why
crazy.
Even I was just confused about the backlash that I was getting, because the author herself, like if you look at, I want everybody watching this to go and look at the cover of Blood Moon and then look at the cover of Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. The covers of the books are even similar to the story that she said she got inspiration from. So I was just further saying something that had already been said by the author herself. And then it's just, again, it goes into this thing thing of when I seen people talking about critiques of books that I loved, I never get in their comments and try to convince them otherwise. Why? They read it. That was their experience with it. Why the hell am I going to try to convince them otherwise or make them feel stupid or that they didn't understand the story just because I loved it? That's not my job. You know what I mean? Like me and Jay, even when we say, y'all should read this book, we really, really love it because we really liked it. If y'all don't and y'all hated it, why am I going to get upset? You have your own experience with the book. I don't expect everybody. Me and Jay, like he said, we've had discussions. Alyssa Cole's book, we read one of her books when no one is watching. One of Jay's favorite books, it may have been a book that wasn't in my top 5. We talked about it. We moved on. I'm not mad at
I didn't really care for it either. To start out. I finished it, but I didn't.
I finished it too. And it was just kind of like Jay loved it. Maybe it wasn't my favorite book. And me and him are not like telling each other, meet us outside so we can square up about it. You know what I mean? Like we just like, hey, he liked it. I didn't. And I don't think he never said, you know what, Kiera, you're a coon because you didn't like this black woman's book,
Crazy. No, it just says that you're not a part of the tribe. Like if you didn't like, you shouldn't have come here by Geneva Rose. Okay, that's good. You're not a part of the tribe. I'm a part of her tribe. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, and that's okay if you're not a part of the tribe or you are a part of the tribe. Like, who cares, bro?
Right.
Like, like if you're a Ford guy or a Chevrolet guy, who cares, bro?
Drive what you gonna pay for. I ain't buying your books. So
what you eat don't make me go to the restroom and do a number 2.
Exactly. So that's why and it just hurt because it was coming. Okay, of course it was coming for other black people. Now, if a white person called me a coon, we in a whole nother episode. That's a whole nother like what the fuck? Excuse me.
That's when we start.
But
for our own can of
but that's why it hurt. This is from my own people who I love y'all, like even still, and maybe that makes me very naive, but I just feel like we dogpile on each other enough. It's always us talking shit about each other, and I just don't want to contribute to that culture of attacking someone personally. If the book is bad, the book is bad, and that's another thing. Not everybody can write a book. You know what I mean? You want to be an author? I wanted to play basketball when I was younger. I'm 5'3" and I have no coordination. So it's just like, would it be bad if someone told me like, here, you can't play, like you're not good at basketball? I'm not going to be good at everything. And it doesn't feel nice to hear that if that's what I want to do, but that doesn't make them racist or a coon or mean if they're just telling a fact. If I didn't like this book, that's not inherently mean or negative to say. I'm a consumer. And I feel like people get so upset and defensive of the authors, y'all, but everybody in every industry goes through this same criticism. Athletes, musicians, actors, actresses. We have award shows for the best. Y'all not going to act like the worst doesn't exist. Like, why do we feel like authors are exempt from the criticism that everybody else in the craft?
They get a permission slip. Like,
for real. We have to be nice to the authors. We'll hurt their feelings if we say because they put their heart and soul into it. Okay, people put their heart and souls into movies and they still suck.
If I say that a black golfer is trash, I'm not bashing. Oh man, you hard on black golfers. No, he's trash.
He's trash.
Like, for real, there is a standard. It's called par.
Yes, there's a standard. And I feel like we're doing more harm than good if we're saying, like, as a black author, you don't have to meet the same standard. We can uplift mediocrity for you because you're black and we're black in the name of trying to get you more recognition. I just think that does more harm than good. I was talking to my husband about this. There's this book that I was reading, seen it on Book Talk, seen everybody talking about it. Go to look at the reviews. The reviews are great, guys. Oh, we all love the book. The book had so many grammar formatting issues. I mean, it was almost impossible for me to get through it. And yet nobody mentioned it because it's an indie author. It's an author by a black person. And when I even went back and looked at the Amazon, a lot of the people that were reviewing it were other black people. And so I understand the sentiment of not wanting to bash your brother and sister, but I feel like, why is this book, like no one has mentioned the many grammatical, no one's mentioned it. And I don't know if it's just because it didn't matter. But again, like Bill said, there is a standard. And I think we're doing more harm than good if we're telling some people, you don't have to live to this standard because it's more difficult for you. So you can stay down here and we're still going to uplift you. That's why I believe in honesty. Yes. And we're not doing it to tear anybody down.
Then they're going to be writing these garbage books back to back. And it's like, nah, put some more oomph into that joint. You feel me?
Yeah. And we're trying to be constructive and we're trying to have fun with it. But it's just one of those things. It is what it is. People are not going to like it. But the name calling is just policing other people's blackness because, like, I seen another post on Threads. It was this guy. He was saying he didn't understand why so many people were going crazy over Sinners, because he had seen the movie and he felt like, yeah, it was a decent movie. It wasn't all that. And people were calling him KKK. I mean, they were reading the guy for filth because he said that he didn't like Sinners. Sinners is a movie that, you know, all of us as Black people, we root for our people. We wanted Michael B. Jordan to win. I understand that. That doesn't mean every Black person has to like the movie, but it was him just saying that he didn't really care for the movie and everybody hates him. Like, I was reading the comments like, you know, it just, like Jules said, we're not a monolith. We don't always have to like the same things. And if we don't, that doesn't make us anti-Black. You know,
Heaven forbid I say I haven't seen Sinners.
You haven't seen Sinners?
No.
But you know what?
I like Coogler, though. I like Ryan Coogler. I like his work.
I do too.
I know it's dope. I just haven't had and I like Michael B. Jordan. I just haven't had a desire to see it. But man, I hear great things about it.
I liked it. I really did. I liked the movie. I like Michael B. Jordan. I like Ryan Coogler, just like you said. But say you saw it and you'd be like, it wasn't really my thing. That doesn't mean that you don't support Black actors, you know? It just, you didn't like that movie.
And not in a, I got Black friends type of way. That don't mean like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, I really rock with Black actors and directors. And,
I just didn't like that movie.
Yeah. But it was a good, I guess we got that off our chest now. The next time, though, it ain't going to be, I'm not holding back. I don't care. I ain't gonna hold back. It's gonna be a lot of cursing.
This is y'all pass.
This is y'all pass, because I really want to say it's probably a little bit more disrespectful. So we let the first one go. The second one won't fly. This is not gonna be one of those joints. And if you critique our podcast, that's fine too. I don't really care about. That's what we want. We want, because
if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping.
Right. But I want it to be critiqued. Like, I don't mind, you know, say whatever you gotta say. You know, I don't really, you know, it's everything we put in our art too. So it's to be criticized, right? And we're not above reproach, yo. So is there anything y'all want to say before we get out of here, man?
Thank you, Jay and Jules, for always having my back and just supporting me. Like I said, I definitely don't want to bring any negative energy to the podcast, but I thank y'all for giving me the space on this episode to kind of speak my mind. And I appreciate y'all thoughts and support as well. And the people who supported me on that threads, and the people who sent me loving, caring messages in my TikTok DMs. Like, thank y'all so much. I did have to take a mental health break because no matter how strong I feel like I am on the inside, you know, some stuff just gets to us. So I just appreciate everybody who sent their love and their thoughts. And you guys really, really made my day. And so thankful to my co-hosts for always supporting me.
Got you. Jules, you got anything for the people before you get out of here?
I just want to reiterate that the issue is with the slur, you know, not the review. You know, you got some real issues you need to address. And so, man, at the end of the day, we standing behind you, Key, for real, without unapologetically, like for real.
First time, last time, y'all. This has been another episode of the BookFest Show. We thank y'all for tuning in, man. See y'all next week.